Holly Hamilton in the Garden TV studio with Douglas Justice. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So you are kind of a big dude over there at the UBC in Vancouver. Tell me about what you do there.
Well, I have a fairly lofty title, but it doesn't actually say a lot what I do. I'm the associate director, and I'm responsible for horticulture and the collections at the Botanical Garden. But what I really do is I'm the program manager for the horticulture training program. It's a program that we have in the garden. We have students in the garden working and training. It's a one-year program. And I also teach in the landscape architecture faculty. I teach plant materials, so both of those things take up quite a bit of my time. And we have a very professional staff in the garden.
So dude isn't probably a term that you throw around too often?
It's okay. Some of my best friends call me dude. But yeah, it's well, like most horticultural pursuits, it's a pretty casual. It's very casual on the outside. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of work involved. I take it very seriously, and the fact that I get to train both landscape architecture students who will become with any luck landscape architects and design things around the country and around the world, as well as train horticulturists, mm-hmm. Gardeners. This is a very fulfilling part of my job.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And that kind of brings you into the speaking arena. Now, do you travel quite often speaking about your trade or your specialty?
I would say, a couple of times a year I'm probably talking somewhere. I'm very happy to be here in Seattle. This is because it's only 2.5 hours and I didn't have to take a plane.
Right.
So I'm very happy about that. I have, memberships in a variety of societies, and those commitments take me to other places in the world, and so I occasionally get to speak there. But it's not really the same. I actually prefer to speak to people who understand the climate here and
in the
who garden
Northwest.
like we garden in Vancouver, and Seattle and Vancouver are very close. I mean, close both in terms of geography, but also the people.
So when you're able to go around the country, or say go to a state in the South perhaps, or on the East Coast, how does what you speak about differ from what you talk about when you're in your your home territory?
Right. Well, what happens is that most people are actually fascinated by the Pacific Northwest. And so it's very easy to talk about what we do here because, well, we can talk about the contrasts. It doesn't get hot in the summer here. We have a spring that lasts for 6 months. And that's, people in South Carolina, are really interested
fascinated
in that.
by that.
Yeah. And if I'm in Western Europe, there are more similarities. So in England, for example, we grow many of the same plants that they grow. There are differences, of course, but there are parallels. And I'm getting to the point now where I've seen gardens and being around gardeners around the world, and we're all cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, and I'm just the more I spend in this type of arena, the more I'm realizing that it's a bug that bites you, and you're kind of hooked for life. Now, really quick, I know we were talking before we got on camera about the UBC Botanical Garden, and you were saying something about it began in 1916. Tell me just briefly a little bit about that.
I mean, it's a fairly interesting history. The university itself is was only started in 1916, or on the site on Point Grey in Vancouver. And the Botanical Garden actually was started before there were any buildings housing students for classes. So the Botanical Garden actually predates the university by a few months. And the university had this botanical garden like around the campus, but as the university grew, the garden kept shrinking and shrinking until I think it was in 1968. The director said, what we need a new piece of ground, and so we're on now. The garden is on the southwest corner of Point Grey, overlooking Georges Strait. It's a beautiful site, and it's a wonderful site particularly for rhododendrons.
And then is it open to the public?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
so people can go out and see that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for talking to us.
You're welcome.
And we appreciate your time, and enjoy the rest of your stay in Seattle.
Yeah, thanks very much.
I'm Holly Hamilton, and you're watching Garden TV.